Workbench. Today is time for another vlog. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone around the U.S. And all the other YouTubers. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a great Thanksgiving and be safe in your shops if you're out this weekend. So just a couple more updates here, just a couple things. As you can see in my background here, you saw this in the last vlog. The power tool cabinet cart's coming along. I'm working on getting it all finished here. I've got some of the plywood all finished up. Had a little rough time getting this finished up because the temperatures got pretty cold last weekend. Made it a little bit harder to get paint to be applied, but I'm pretty happy with that. There's a video that I've been making about the process on that, so that's coming. We also got a box. Today we'll be opening that box here and see some other parts that we've got. Also got the rest of the walls are now finished up. Now I've got to figure out where I want the track and get a few things lined up. Bunch of junk down here because with winter around the corner I need to be able to get my cars in the garage. I don't think it's going to work if my car and my wife's car can't actually get into the garage. So lots of stuff going on. Got a bunch of need to hurry things up. So while this weekend is nice and warm, it's going to be a great time to wrap up this bench. I've got some electrical work. The last big thing as I try to plan out this build is where I'm going to bury the outlet. And so I've got a heavy duty wire and I'm going to have to build an electrical box to be able to build the right outlet combination that I need. Not sure exactly where that's going to go, but you'll see how that pans out in the video. And for the next thing, we've got this box of fun parts that showed up the other day, so we're going to open that up. And in the box, this is parts that were ordered from the ServiceNet, DeWalt ServiceNet. A few random parts here. This is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge. First of all, I got another hold down clamp for my miter saw because my miter saw only came with one, so I got an extra one of those so I can have two, one to either side. That's going to go with this table. Let's see. Got a miter gauge. I'll explain what that's for in a moment here. A few screws. A metal hook. This is designed for a table saw, but I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Another just cheap plastic push stick. That was easy because it didn't add nothing to shipping. And there should be a few more small parts in here. There we go. And then a couple nuts to go with the other screws that were ordered, as well as the shipping receipt. That should tell me that that's everything. So let's start with the miter gauge. So with the miter gauge that we got here, this is intended for a Porter cable, the job site table saw. I have the contractor full-size table saw, but I'm not actually going to use this on the table saw. My goal with this is the housing mechanism up here, where this miter gauge actually has positive stops, 30, 60, 90, 45 to either side. And what I'm wanting to do is to use this with my bandsaw, my Porter cable bandsaw. The miter gauge that came with it, just slide that back in here, you can see I need to get some rust off my tabletop here. Does not have positive stops, 30, 60, 45, or 90, and I think I'd prefer having positive stops. So we're going to work on doing some tinkering here and moving parts around. Based on when I was looking at this in the store, I think I can make this work with a few small modifications. And so we'll see if we can do that. So if we look at the miter gauges here and put these back to back, you can see where they line up fairly well. If we look at the screw positions, a few different screw positions we'll have to work with here to get this to line up from back. So we're going to take these apart to be able to get this to work. The other notable difference, what comes with the miter saw actually really is a T-slot. The one that comes with the other one here is a square bar that's got this ring around it that holds it in the slot. And this slot here on this one actually does not work with the slot that's milled into the bandsaw table. If I could just run that like that, that would be the easy way to do this, but it doesn't, so we've got to take the long road on getting that done. So we need a Phillips head screwdriver, and then we can get started. Okay, so it seems like just making the miter saw or the miter gauge adaptation might take a little bit longer. I want to flush mount the screws in the other gauge, and the process of taking this apart, you probably saw the BB fly out, and I need to find that back because that actually creates the positive stops or the little detents where the little BB and the spring go around from side to side. So I've got to find that on my garage floor. So we're going to put that on hold. I hope that doesn't turn into a fail and a waste of some money on a miter gauge. Hopefully I'll be able to make that work. It's just obviously not going to fit in this video. The next thing that we've got is the hold down clamp for the miter saw. This should be a duplicate of what I already have, but since my saw only came with one, and I just would be nice to have one on both sides, this should be a quick upgrade. So we got the clamp here. And so now let's take this over to the miter saw. Yes, I do need to clean off the garage floor. And now over at my miter saw, which will eventually be moving onto that black workbench, we can now put a clamp on that side as well. And now I've got an integrated hold down clamp on both sides of the saw. Not that I always need it, but just thought it'd be nice to have. And when the other bits and pieces here, when I was moving my table saw from my old shop to my new shop, there was a clamp that holds the miter gauge on the table saw, and I lost one of the screws for that. And so I ordered a replacement screw for that, which I could have got at the hardware store, I know, just for really cheap. But I also bought a second duplicate hook, which is what this part is here. And the reason why so I got this other hook here that's a duplicate that matches it. I bought this to mount this on my bandsaw so I can hang the miter saw miter gauge on this. My miter gauge can be integrated in with it, and this will mount on the cabinet. So I'm just basically swapping parts around from one piece to another. And so I thought I'd just buy the screws that match it if I'm going to pay the shipping to buy the metal hook anyway. And the push stick, well, that was just a matter of just buying another cheap push stick. I was hoping it was going to be the ones that was filled, that's actually slightly narrower, that fits in my fence. I might have to make one of those, but whatever. It doesn't hurt to have cheap miter gauges or push sticks around. It didn't quite work. The changing over the miter gauge didn't work right, but I was able to get the hook on the side, so now I've got a miter gauge holder on the side of my bandsaw. So we'll consider that well done for the night, and happy Thanksgiving.